Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films, and today I'm going to be reacting to the first episode of Andor, the new Star Wars show starring everybody's favorite Rogue One character, Cassian Andor. Okay, I'm being slightly a dick saying that. I'm sure Cassian Andor was someone's favorite character. I'm sure he has a fan base out there. He was alright. I didn't really, I didn't get too much from him in Rogue One. I was like, yep, he's there. He was kind of cool. He's interesting. I mean, he was certainly acted well. There was nothing bad about him. I just, meh. But that's not necessarily his fault. I kind of think that whole movie is kind of like that. It's a good movie. It's definitely a good movie. It's just, meh. I just didn't really get much out of the characters. But I am ready for that to change. I am ready for this Cassian Andor series to make me a Cassian Andor fan. So yeah, I don't know too much about this. I think I watched maybe one trailer and I don't remember it, so that's always a good start. But yeah, I mean, this is at very least, I know this is a prequel to Rogue One. I think this will eventually lead into the events of Rogue One, which is hilarious because that just leads into the events of A New Hope. So yeah, but other than that, I'm kind of flying blind. Like, I know it's Cassian Andor before Rogue One, and he's doing Rebel stuff. That's pretty much all I know. The other thing I guess I know is that there are 3 episodes available here on launch day, and I am not going to be watching all 3 in this video. I speculated on, I thought about doing that, but there is not enough time in the week for me to do that, especially because I have other shows that I work on, and right now we're also running through House of the Dragon, which is running live right now, so I am not going to be watching all 3 of these first episodes in one go, but what I am going to do is I'm going to try to film them pretty much every time I film. So basically, what I'm saying is, these first 3 episodes are basically going to go up over the course of this week, basically. So this is probably going out on Sunday, I would imagine, and you can expect my reactions to episodes 2 and 3 around the time that episode 4 comes out on Wednesday, and then next Sunday I will have episode 4, and then by that point it'll just be a week to week, and we'll all be fine and good. So yeah. But yeah. So that's basically that. I just wanted to cover that because, yeah, I cannot... 3 episodes at launch. That's a bit crazy. I know we have 12 episodes this season, and another 12 in the second season that apparently was already greenlit, which is crazy. But yeah, there's no way I can do all of them in one go. But anyway. So yeah, this is also the beginning of the season and the series, and what I like to do at the beginning of every season that I do is I offer full length available for free. So if you want to watch my full unedited reaction to this episode, the first episode of Andor, you can head down in the description and in the pinned comment. There will be a link there. It does take you over to my Patreon page, but once again, this is a free thing. And yeah, you can sync up your copy of this episode of Andor, which basically means booting it up on Disney Plus, and then basically you play the full-length video. You just play. I'll give you a count-in, and when it goes 3, 2, 1, and on the 0, that's when you hit play on Andor. And yeah, I've made it as simple as possible. You just play them back to back. They should, within a margin of error, they should be relatively in sync. So yeah, you can watch that, hopefully have a good time. When you're done with that, maybe consider trying full length, full time. It's only $5. You also get everything a week early. Not Andor, as I guess because it is a live show, you won't get Andor early, but you'll get everything else early. That's not a live show. So Doctor Who, Prison Break, JoJo, Full Metal, Better Call Saul, all that stuff you can get a week in advance if you sign up for that. But anyway, and of course, afterwards, I do always encourage everybody to stick around for the discussion on this episode, because we like doing that. We like talking about the episodes. So anyway, why don't we just go ahead and jump right into this episode of Andor. Here we go. Morlana 1. We're continuing the... Ooh, BBY5. Is that the first time they've ever acknowledged the calendar? I think that might be. Wow. Alright, so they're gonna continue the locations and stuff from Rogue One. I'm glad. Because otherwise, I'm not gonna know where the hell we are. But that is definitely the first time they've ever acknowledged the calendar.
A friend of mine said there was a girl from Canary working here.
Canary?
It was a small mid-rim system.
I've heard of it. It's not your girlfriend or something, is it?
I don't have a girlfriend.
No.
Is this something amusing?
What?
You keep looking over it like there's something funny.
Definitely not.
No.
What does that mean?
You're not funny.
Yeah, he's not laughing now, is he?
There
Man.
was a girl from Canary, but she left several months ago.
Oh.
We do have a lovely lady here tonight from Tahina, who's got those big dark eyes.
Tahina. It's a
This
magical
girl from
place.
Canary. I'm looking for my sister.
Well, whoever she is, she's not here.
Oh, what was her name?
Nobody here gives their real name.
Well, what was the fake name? Maybe she's still using it. Hold on. Wait, he doesn't know her name, huh?
I don't need any surprises.
Oh, come on. I want to see Cassian fuck these guys up.
Oh, the pocket.
Ugh! Oh!
Get him up! Move!
Oh, is he dead? Oof. Welcome to the darker Star Wars show. The Cassian Andor I remember was a killer.
You didn't mean it. He fell. We had a misunderstanding.
Well, I wonder if we're gonna see an evolution.
He tried to grab you and he fell and he hit his head. We're going together. I'll tell him what happened.
Oh! Nope. Well, if there was an evolution, it just happened. Dude, he just shot that guy in the head. This is our Star Wars protagonist. I don't know if he feels good about it, but geez. Alright, I'm actually really down for a darker Star Wars story. Immediately, this is what everybody wishes Boba Fett had been in his own show. Sorry, apparently we just moved over to Disney's live-action remake of WALL-E.
Kassa. Kassa.
Kassa!
Ah, backstory.
Evangello!
I feel like now it's an episode of Star Wars Visions.
But where were you?
It's not important.
If it's not important, but why not tell me?
This is before he had K2.
Listen to me. It's important. I know it takes a lot of energy, but can you make a lie for me?
I can lie. I have adequate power reserves.
Don't tell anybody you saw me. Don't tell anybody you know where I am.
That's two lies.
Let's have both.
I will have to recharge at home.
Take your time on the way back. I gotta hurry.
It's interesting
I
it takes
can't
power
come
to
with you.
lie. Interesting architecture on this planet.
You can buy for me, but I wasn't there. So then you started home and you saw me at the hotel bridge. We decided we were thirsty and you wanted to go to Cabos, but I said that was no good because there's too many people there. I owe money.
You serious?
Yeah.
Create an alibi, please.
Who's gonna be asking?
So Cabos was out, but then you remembered you still had half a bottle of Nog stashed at home.
Oh my god, can I write this down? Because I'm not gonna remember this.
You failed to gauge the depth of my irritation. You rose to make your point more vocally. I was helping you back into your chair when you fell.
Two men are dead, sir. Employees. That's not worth staying up for, then I'm not worthy of the uniform.
Have you modified your uniform?
Perhaps slightly. Pockets piping and some light tailoring.
Both of them look familiar. I'm pretty sure this old dude is on Game of Thrones. Was.
It's another reason I wanted to make sure this got the most immediate attention.
I want to say Lord Royce, but I can't think.
I'm sure that in several days, with the proper resources, I can bring this case to a...
Stop.
Stop.
I don't mean just the talking, I mean stop. 2 dedicated Primor employees caught in the sad orbit of heroic calamity.
I don't understand.
I want you to conjure a suitable accident.
But...
And let's make sure it's on the far side of
Okay.
the plaza. Let's get it outside the
Cover
leisure
story.
But they were murdered.
zone. No, they were killed in a fight. They're in a brothel, which we're not supposed to have, the expensive one, which they shouldn't be able to afford. I suspect they died rushing to aid someone in distress. Nothing too heroic, we don't need a parade. They died being helpful. Something sad but inspiring in a mundane sort of way.
Damn.
Minimizing the time the Empire spends thinking about Preox Morlana benefits our superiors and, by extension, everyone here at the Primor Security Inspection Team, which at the moment includes you. Don't put your feet on my desk in my absence, and let's have an accident report waiting when I get back.
Alright. Well, I'm already curious to see more of this DI. I love all the accents that are... all the accents that are in this show. Like, there's really just, like, a basic American.
Vix, you said he wanted to meet me. I really need this.
I'll let him know. Now go fix your face.
No.
She seems upset.
It's good to see you, Tim.
Seems like that happens every
Tim.
time you come around.
With 2 M's. I love it.
Don't worry. She's tougher than both of us.
I'm getting tired of hearing that.
Then you better find yourself a less complicated woman.
No.
Good luck with that.
Okay, great. I don't know what the fuck is happening.
The nights get busy. You know the traffic.
I don't know what's more disturbing, the fact that our corporate borders are unprotected or your complacence about it.
No.
Find it. Whatever it is, I want to know when it left and where it went.
You'd have to filter the entire night.
Well, if it's too much for you, let me know. I'm sure somebody wants the chair.
Oh, shit. Damn. This DI, he's definitely committed.
Vetch, you let him talk you into this?
The subject is money.
I just ask you a question.
What?
Since
No.
when you take orders from Nurture?
Don't answer that.
Duh.
You need work this bad.
Leave him out of it.
He said all I need to do was stand here.
Good.
I love the
You
voices.
keep at it.
You think I'm messing around?
I hope so. I'm gonna do us a favor and not mention this happened. Vetch, very nice to see you.
No. Good job.
What?
What? Oh, he's following her? Is that a good idea, man? She probably knows. And you lost her. I wonder who this buyer is.
Look alive. He's on his way up.
Is he even allowed to approve overtime?
That's his problem.
Oh my gosh. Space Chinese.
That'll be his name in the time scan.
We don't have presence there, sir.
Is it not under our jurisdiction?
Technically.
We are simply asking for information.
Have you ever been there?
What difference does that make?
They have their own way of doing things.
This is the murder of 2 Primor employees!
You shouldn't have said that so
Put out a
loud.
bulletin. Canary human men wanted for questioning. Slam their channels, flood it. Set up a desk here to monitor anything that comes in.
You know, this is not what your boss...
Let's go!
This is not what your boss wanted, you know?
We're done. No more favors, no more deals. Listen, don't. I don't want to know what you're doing or why or where you took this thing last night or any of it. Finish up. Get out. Don't come back.
Oh, man. Cassian's losing some of his friends. So presumably that was the thing that he took out. Alright, so they were all, like, painting, gearing up. They're gonna go see what's up with the crashed ship. Is that the last time they saw each other? Oh, don't tell me that's it. Oh, that's it. Alright then. Alrighty, that's episode 1. Now, I did kind of suspect before the video. Hang on. Oh god, excuse me. I did kind of suspect that the reason that they did 3 episodes to start out is because they didn't have a ton in this first one. Or, I mean, like, it's not the most action-packed first episode. But that was still pretty good. That was still pretty enjoyable. I really enjoyed that. Now, before we do anything else, I am going to bust out my laptop, and I am going to look up a couple of the actors in this first episode here. So, as my gamer lights come on, we will just cut ahead, basically. Okay, so these seem to be in order of appearance. So... that was Stellan Skarsgård? Really? Hold on. Let me look at his face again. That's not him. Wait a minute. Okay, that's not him. So wait, who the hell? Okay, Luthen Rail? Hold on. Okay, maybe this isn't... maybe he's just top build cast. Okay. Maybe that's it, because I don't think Stellan Skarsgård was in this episode. Okay, my bad. We move on. I was right. Chief Hein was played by Rupert Vansittart. That's probably not how you say that. But I was right. He was Lord Royce in Game of Thrones. Do I know him from anything else? Don't think so. I mean, the only thing I could think is if he was in a Doctor Who episode. But it doesn't look like it. Alright. And then Kyle Solar plays Cyril Karn, who I believe that is... yeah, that's definitely the Deputy Inspector. So let me look. No? Huh. Well, I definitely liked him. And then... hold on, because I want to also get... what was her name? Bix. I don't know the other guy. Where is Bix? Where? Why is Bix not credited? Oh, there we go. Bix Colleen. Adria Arjuna? Here we go. This is why she looks so familiar. Good Omens. She played Anathema Device. Okay, yeah, I see it. She was also in Morbius. That's always a great thing to be recognized for. Morbius. But yeah, she was in Good Omens. That's why I recognize her. All right, Far Out. Far Out. I really liked her in that, so that's great. Okay, so again, there's not a ton in this episode. But that's okay. I really enjoyed this episode, actually. Like, I think that was a good setup for this show. And I'm sure next episode we'll get a bit more, you know? We'll get a bit more in the next episode, and the next episode, and so on and so forth. But for a first episode, not too bad. Like, just enough to where I'm like, okay, I'll watch the next episode. I'm interested. Okay, so it seems, at least, the plot for now is Cassian Andor is searching for his sister. And we just got, glimpses of his life on Kenari. And it definitely seems like, okay, they all go off to, hold on. Oh, God, I'm sorry. They all go off to see what's going on with this crashed ship. Presumably, then everybody who was left behind, including his sister, were all left in, or they were all taken, basically. So that's a problem. But yeah, so he's looking for his sister. And it is at least distinct enough that it's like, I'm looking for a girl from Kenari, And it also, because I remember that was a thing that Diego Luna, like, and you can correct me if this story is wrong or anything, if any part of this story is wrong, but I think it's that, I think he wasn't, when he did Rogue One, he wasn't going to keep his accent, but someone told him, no, you should keep that. You should keep the accent. Even if nobody else in Star Wars sounds like that, you should keep the accent because, that's your accent. It's completely fine for you to keep that accent, and that will, it's great for other people with that accent to see, hey, here's this guy, he's like me, and that is great, and I like that, So, but I like that, I guess that basically means that they have, I guess, given a plot reason that he is from this specific village on this specific planet, I would imagine that's where, he's very different from, Jyn Erso and her, just standard English accent, Because, that's also the thing is, with accents in Star Wars, like, honestly, nobody really cares. Like, they don't need to explain where accents come from in Star Wars. It's just like, just whatever accent you happen to have, that's just sort of how you talk, So yeah, like, there's, I don't know, like, yeah, we never really question Obi-Wan's accent. It's just, no, that's just his accent, and he, grew up in the Jedi temples, He grew up in the Jedi temples with Qui-Gon Jinn, and Qui-Gon wasn't rocking that accent, So it's just like, whatever. But it seems like that's sort of, an explanation, but also it lends itself like, oh, Cassian Andor has this accent that is, very different from, the local blokes that are down in the brothels, And it's like, okay, so why? They're basically like, well, we can take that and we can, work that into a backstory. So I like that. Also, I swear this is the first time they've ever used BBY in Star Wars. Correct me if I am wrong. Maybe they used it in, like, a video game or something. That's entirely possible. But I'm pretty sure, at least in the on-screen, show or movie Star Wars, I don't think they've ever used ABY or BBY before the Battle of Yavin. And it's interesting to use that because basically that now canonizes that calendar. Because it's kind of an interesting thing. When you really stop and think about it, it doesn't make a lot of sense as a calendar. It makes sense in the way of, well, that's the big thing, from the first Star Wars movie, that is the major thing, the Battle of Yavin, But, it honestly, like, other than that, there is no, like, within the world of Star Wars. Now, we haven't had any characters acknowledge it, And obviously, nobody before the Battle of Yavin is going to acknowledge that, They're not going to be like, oh, yeah, well, this was 4 years before the Battle of Yavin. It is 4 years before. What the hell is the Battle of Yavin then? It's like, they would obviously be working on a different calendar because that's how calendars work, But yeah, but for the fact that that is now, at least in terms of, just text, just the show, like they are canonizing that calendar. Because honestly, probably a better calendar point would be like, I guess you could say AB, ATP, after the Purge, after the Jedi Purge, after Order 66 or something like that. Like, Order 66 and the formation of the Empire honestly sounds like it should be the point of the calendar. But it's the Battle of Yavin because A New Hope was the first Star Wars movie. But I swear that is the first time they've ever acknowledged ABY and BBY. So yeah. Interesting stuff. And yeah. Okay. I am so down for a darker Star Wars story. And I think that's kind of what everybody wanted out of the Book of Boba Fett. Everybody wanted him to be a ruthless killer. And to an extent, I understand that. But there's also to an extent of like, well, you don't need to be a ruthless killer to be, I guess a mob boss, the boss on Tatooine. But that aside, that debate aside about the Book of Boba Fett, this I like. Because, yeah, at first I was, he seemed to be hesitating. And so I was like, oh, well, maybe he's not going to, maybe we see an evolution. Because he did in Rogue One. He killed, like, his informant or something, He was going to kill Galen Erso, but then he backed down from it. So yeah, like, he is not afraid to kill, And in a time like this, where it's like, yes, you get your Luke Skywalkers, you get your Ezras and your Kanans and everything, although even then, there were some dark moments in Rebels for sure. Remember the episode of Rebels where Hera just blew up a ship because they, like, hacked Chopper? So she just hacked them back and killed them? Oh, it was a great episode. It was alright, but it was fun that Hera just murdered them in cold blood, So, but yeah. But speaking of murdering in cold blood, Cassian Andor. Cassian Andor will definitely do that. It's not like... See, I was thinking like, oh, maybe we'll lead up to that or something, but nope. He will kill them if he has to, and I'm fine with that, because honestly, yeah, that was sort of a thing with the Book of Boba Fett. Granted, he did blow up a dude, like, in episode 2 or something, He did blow up a dude in episode 2. But as just a cold-blooded killer, you didn't get a lot of that from Boba Fett, But, granted, but you also got that from Fennec Shand when she just went in and murdered, like, all the Pikes and stuff, so. And he did kill, spoilers, he did do some more at the end. I'll leave that more open if you haven't seen the Book of Boba Fett. But yeah, but this, because I was kind of thinking in the Book of Boba Fett, like, well, maybe it's that Disney won't allow it, and it's like, okay, this is your main character, having him be a cold-blooded killer, on Disney Plus, like, that might be a bit tricky for them to do. But they're not shying away from that. In fact, it seems like part of the main conflict is going to be the fact that Cassian murdered these two guys, Because now we have the deputy inspector who is not, it seems, going to be doing the cover-up story, the accident story, but instead he is going to try to track Cassian down and bring him to justice, and I like that. Excuse me. So yeah, I really like that. I like how that is, and I like honestly the deputy inspector, Karn. That was his name. Is like Cyril Karn. Honestly, that's a really interesting type of character, and and yes, he is sort of this. I guess you could sort of say this Imperial guy, but you can obviously tell that he's not like early Agent Callus or Thrawn or something. It's like people who almost relish in, making people suffer. That definitely doesn't seem to be the DI. This guy, he definitely he has a sense of justice. You know, he's a good boy, you know, he's a good guy, but he has a sense of justice, and he will make sure that justice is served, you know? So he is hell-bent on finding Cassian. So I like that, and that'll definitely be a good sort of conflict for this show. And honestly, from this first episode, I'm getting a lot more noir vibes, you know, which I guess you could also chalk it up to Western, because I was going to say, you know, Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett definitely had a more Western feel, you know? These are, you know, cowboys, basically, just in space. But I'm getting... And while you could say there is a bit of a Western vibe here, I'm getting way more of a noir vibe. And maybe that's also because of the setting, because, let's face it, you know, Mandalorian, like, he'll go so many places, but you know how many times he ends up on Tatooine? Book of Boba Fett almost entirely took place on Tatooine, you know? Obi-Wan kind of had its own feel. A bit more, kind of Western, kind of not really more of the noir feel, but this definitely, especially just with the colors and the planet, this definitely has that sort of noir feel. And I like that. I like that it's a different feel. And I like how different Cassian is to our previous Disney Plus protagonist, you know? He's not, you know, this super kitted out Mandalorian or this other super kitted out Mandalorian, you know? He's not Obi-Wan or anything. Although he is sort of in sort of a similar vein to where we see Obi-Wan at the beginning of his show, is he's a guy who's down on his luck, you know? But where Obi-Wan was still a Jedi, Cassian Andor seems to just be a guy, you know? He seems to be a guy who is, you know, who can handle himself in a fight, but he's still a guy, you know? And then we also had some of his friends. We had B2EMO, who he called B, but honestly, I would just take out the 2 and just call him BMO. But I like that. So this is obviously before he got K2. I like how it takes energy to make a lie. Like, that's really funny, you know? And this B definitely seems to be a sort of cross between R2 and 3PO, definitely. But I liked him. I liked Bix. I thought she was pretty interesting. Pretty much the only person that doesn't take crap from Cassian, you know? Although she did agree to meeting the buyer. So I'll be curious who the buyer is. Who knows? Maybe it's Stellan Skarsgård. Maybe that's why he's in the cast. I don't know. But yeah, so I'll be interested about that. But I liked her. I liked her employee there. That was interesting. And I will say, because I think I saw something that was like, you know, you're going to see a lot more of how people live in this world. And I do want to see that, but I will say this episode hasn't helped for that, because it's exactly the same thing I see in all of Star Wars, is it's engineers doing, you know, taking apart something or fixing something or this or that. And maybe that's just because this is, you know, that's the planet we're on, is that it's a very heavy, you know, engineering planet. It could be that. But I will say, because, and I don't remember what video I said this on, but I'm pretty sure I said this in a Star Wars video, that Star Wars has some of the greatest, most terrible world building I've ever seen. Because I don't know what these people do, you know? I don't know what people do in their spare time. Are there movies? Are there TV shows? Are there books, for God's sake? You know? Like, do people go to plays? There are some video games. There's, you know, little, you know, stop-motion creature chess, but is there just a video game you can play? Like, what do people do in this world? And it's something that for 40 years I feel like Star Wars has never been able to address. It's like, well, you're either part of the Empire, part of the Rebellion, or you know, tinker with stuff. You're some sort of engineer or something, you know? Like, that is kind of it, you know? And granted, I mean, there is a bit more, like, you know, we see, like, Sabine, she's an artist and everything, you know? But, I don't know, it's just, I just want to see more, and I'm hoping we do get to see a bit more here, you know? I'm hoping we do get to see a bit more. And And yeah, there was one thing. I was just about to say something. What the hell was it? I was about to say something about this episode that was good about the world building, but I can't for the oh, right. It was, weirdly enough, the brothel. You know? The fact that they went to a brothel, like, oh, brothels exist. And this isn't just a thing on Disney, like, oh man, Disney's letting them have a brothel in Star Wars. It's that, no, Star Wars is letting them have a brothel in Star Wars. Because Star Wars, let's all face it, Star Wars was for kids, you know? And everybody enjoyed it. And it is very much a sort of all ages sort of thing. But this, like, first off, brothels means, hey, there is something to do, you know? You don't just go and, you don't just go and sit in a dark room when you're not, taking a ship apart or something. There is stuff to do. There's a brothel, which is a fun way of expanding on your world building. But that also reinforces, along with Cassian killing those guards, that this is going to be a much darker show than we're used to. Of course, I say that. We have seen plenty of times of Mando murdering people. And, we've seen Mando cut a dude in half with the Darksaber, But there's something about Cassian just straight up shooting that dude in the face that feels different. Again, it's that more noir sort of feel. And I am way down for that. So, all in all, I really enjoyed this episode. And I'm excited to see where we are going from here. And, yeah. Of course, you guys have already seen the next 2 episodes. Please bear with me as I try to get through the rest of them this week. I couldn't do all 3 of them. I wish, because, once we got to the end of the episode, I was like, oh man, I do want to move on, But yeah, it's fine. It's fine the way it is. We'll be back next week with the next episode of Andor. But yeah, that is pretty much it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist for all of my Andor reactions. You may have to wait a little bit for that to fill up, but whatever. There's also another playlist with all of my Obi-Wan Kenobi reactions if you want to go check those out. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.